Modern DT&I layout for part 2 of our roster video. Today we're going to cover the 6-axle units. We have a lot to cover, so we'll get started here. If you didn't watch part 1 yet, most of my units are DCC and sound with Tsunami 2 and scale sound system speakers. I adjust the speaker settings and the EQ settings as recommended on the Scale Sound Systems website, so you can check that out. I will note otherwise if they don't have sound or if there's some other modifications as we go. So first up on the track here, we've got SD38 number 250. This is a recent release from Athearn. It is a prime for grime model, and of course I've modernized it with the frame stripe. There's a walkway air conditioner on the other side and the ditch lights. Let's see what it sounds like. And like I mentioned in part 1 of the series, there are some details on DT&I locomotives that I keep standard. A lot of them are prototypical, such as the gong bell. There are a few others, and a few others that I add for modern versions, so if you have recognized those and want to point them out, please leave a comment. We'll see how accurate you are. This particular model has an M3H air horn. I don't know that 250 really had that, but a few of the GP38s did, and so I wanted to include it. And that is SD38 number 250. Next up is SD38 number 251. It is also an Athearn ready-to-run model. You can see that this one has the standard Modern DT&I scheme and details. The air conditioner there up top, the frame stripe, the ditch lights, and the modern logo. Again, this is Scale Sound Systems and Tsunami 2, so let's give it a listen. Again, we'll have the gong bell and a regular M3 horn on this one. If you watch some of the shorts I put out, you will have seen this along with 250 paired up, and their full throttle, range of throttle sounds that I put out recently. I think they just sound so good. And this is SD38 251. Now on the track we've got SD40-2 number 444. This one is a Broadway limited model. The very early Blue line, I don't know if you remember those, but from when they first started doing sound, that's what this is from. So it's sat on the shelf for many, many years. DCC has come a long way, and so have I with my skills. So I got it out, rebuilt it, and revamped it. So now it has Tsunami 2 sound and Scale Sound System speakers. Let's have a listen. You'll notice a little bleed through on the ditch lights. I need to add a couple of coats of paint to those yet. The Leslie 3-chime horn and regular bell. And that is SD40-2 number 444. Here we've got SD40-2 number 446. Now 446 is distinguished in that it was the very first locomotive ever to wear the modern DT&I scheme that you see here. Still wearing it today. It's a Kato model, and I've added LEDs and ditch lights and Tsunami 2 and scale sound systems and all the modern details, so let's have a listen to it. .446 and 444 are most often paired together on trains, and they may be seen in even helper service on some of the steeper routes, especially if they have to go over Summit Hill. Again, we have a standard bell, but this time a K5 horn. This model's pretty old. I believe these were released in the mid-90s, but it still runs pretty great. That is SD40-2 number 446. Next up is SD40T-2 number 475, a former Ohio Central unit by way of the Rio Grande. This is an Athearn ready to run model. I've only renumbered it and patched it, really. Everything else is as was. I've added the scale sound system speaker, of course, and Tsunami sound. Let's have a listen. And there you have SD40T-2 number 475. No plans to convert this to orange anytime soon. Same with all of my other Ohio Central locomotives. The period that I model would basically be shortly after, or not too long after, the DT&I would have bought out the Ohio Central, so there definitely would still be some Ohio Central painted locomotives running around. Now, I do have plans to have some ex-Ohio Central in orange, such as if anybody ever comes out with a GE Super 7, but other than that, for now, we'll keep the Ohio Central paint. Next up, we've got SD45 number 495. I was originally going to make this an SD40M-2, but I ended up with a decoder that had the 20-cylinder sound in it, so I kept it an SD45. This model will have come from the N&W, and you'll notice that the trucks reflect that. They have the low brake cylinders. Of course, the tie hood was chopped at some point, and I've added the air conditioner, the beacon, and the ditch lights. Now, this one kept its N&W RS5 horn, and like I said, the 20-cylinder prime mover. So let's give a listen. This model is a Walther's mainline. A lot of these I had as Proto 2000 models, but over the last year or so, I've been replacing the drives with the Walther's mainline drives so that sound conversions are much easier. This one is custom painted by Champlain Valley Custom Models. I've linked their Facebook page in the description if you'd like to check them out for any work you'd like to have done. This is one of 3, soon to be 5, that I have done by them, and I am very happy with the results. Here we've got SD50 number 505, which obviously comes from the Southern Pacific by way of the Rio Grande. You'll notice the 505 has a tilted 5 on there. Legend reports that when these were transferred to the DT&I at East St. Louis, the 5 stencil broke off, so somebody had to grab a different font and put that up, so that's the story behind that. Still in SP patched paint, no plans to change that really. I've added the scale sound system speaker, Tsunami 2, ditch lights, LEDs, the whole shebang. So let's have a listen. Lake 495, this was a Proto 2000 model that I have upgraded the drive to Wather's mainline and added the sound. I've also programmed the ditch lights to flash on this one. I mentioned in part 1, I do program the decoders to notch up every 5 speed steps instead of every 7. I find a lot of people run kind of fast on their models, and setting the speeds a little lower, getting that audio cue of the motor revving up keeps you from speeding. And that is SD50 number 505. Next up is SD60 number 605. This is the 3rd of 3 custom painted models by Champlain Valley Custom Models. Again, the link is in the description to their Facebook page if you'd like to check them out. This is a Wather's mainline model, Tsunami 2 DCC, scale sound system speaker, all LED upgrades. Let's have a listen. An interesting thing that's been happening is horn placement on some of these newly leased or newly bought 6-axle units that are out there now. Some of them are getting the K5H and K5HL horns and K5LLA horns that you would normally hear on an SD70 ACE or a Gevo. So in this case, we've got the SD70 ACE horn on 605, as well as a brass bell. Currently, the SD60s are the largest power on the Modern DT&I. That doesn't look to be changing anytime soon, so you've got our most modern power here in SD60 605. Now we'll move on to the non-sound units. I do still have a couple that are pending conversion. We'll work our way backwards here from the SD60s. So first up is SD60 number 603. Again, a Wather's mainline model. No sound yet, but easy enough to add that as soon as I can get decoders in stock here. All the modern details, you might be wondering why it's still in the CN paint scheme. Well, the 60s were the last delivered locomotives under CN ownership before they got privatized. So A couple of them still running around in that scheme, especially since this one was freshly painted. It was the only SD60 to receive this paint scheme. All the others are orange, including the white caps, which you'll see eventually. 603 has a 5-chime Leslie horn that came off of a Chicago Northwestern unit. And of course, LEDs, ditch lights, all of that. So that is SD60 603. Last but certainly not least of the non-sound models is SD35 number 300. This one came from the Wisconsin Central. It is a custom painted model. The gentleman that painted it for me is no longer in business, unfortunately. But it was the first custom painted model I had for the Modern DT&I. So it is an Atlas model. It will be receiving a sound upgrade soon. It has a 5-chime Leslie horn and all the LED upgrades. SD35 number 300. In the last part of the series, we will cover my special units, including the ones used on the business train, the scenic railways, switching power, and foreign power. So stay tuned for that. That should be out soon. Until then, thank you for watching and happy railroading.